What you probably didn't get from the video that was playing earlier is the young man that was mentioned this evening in the presentations, Joshua Sparks, who was keynote speaker at the National Gear Up Conference this winter. And if you're lucky enough, you're probably sitting at a table with Joshua. And so you understand, there we go. And so you understand then what I mean when I say Joshua is really a remarkable young man. And I'm not going to try to do his speech, and I'm not going to try to recapture all of it, but let me just tell you a little bit about him. Joshua relocated as a middle school student from Michigan to his grandparents in eastern Kentucky. And to hear him tell the story, he was pretty shy and pretty much a loner. And then he ran into the Gear Up summer program. And that didn't change him immediately. But then he met a young Gear Up worker whom he graciously referenced in his presentation in New York, whom he described as this person that really pulled him out of his shell. And it was an interesting and telling story to me, because it wasn't through some formal interaction with this counselor that he engaged Joshua, but rather it was through a chess game. And so Joshua talked about this chess game that went on apparently for days or weeks, and I don't play chess, so I don't have any understanding for that, but this chess game went on and on. But over the course of the chess game, Mr. Omari Gleaton engaged the students and it really reminded me of what our staff does every day, and I certainly can't take credit for that. I'm one of those that stay back in the office with all that administrative paperwork. But the folks who work on the ground really do have an impact on students. So I do want to recognize Joshua, who's sitting in the back, and if you happen to bump into him on the way out, you will want to have a conversation with him. He's a remarkable young man. He graduated from Eastern Kentucky University with something like 3 majors, mathematics, statistics, and something else, and has done an internship in Washington, D.C. He spent a year at the University of Toronto, and I believe he is at the George Washington University, completing his master's degree, and intends to continue on with his PhD. So let's just recognize Joshua. That's fine. And I would be remiss if I did not also recognize one of our staff at the Council on Post-Secondary Education, Mr. Omari Gleaton, who is sitting somewhere. Now, I like to call these folks, our star pupils. But there are many stars in our audience this evening, and some of you have had an opportunity to sit amongst some of our students. And so I want to recognize that there are, what is it, Omari, 10 students here this evening? We have about 10 students, and again, some of you have had an opportunity to interact with the students. At this time, however, let me ask each student in the audience to stand up. And I had hoped that the lights would be down so you'd be able to see them, but We have both TRIO students and Gear Up students in the audience. Some students have just graduated from high school. There are at least a couple of students who have just completed their freshman year at the University of Louisville, and there are at least a couple of students who have graduated from college, including Joshua. Now, at this time, let me introduce to you one of those students. Nandy Thomas is a graduate of Holmes High School in Covington, Kentucky, where she participated in Gear Up, and she also participated in the University of Louisville's pre-professional education program. I think that's what the PEP program is called. And that's a program, by the way, that introduced students to professional career areas in medicine and dentistry. She has just finished her freshman year at the University of Louisville, where she is majoring in psychology, and she plans to become a criminal psychologist. As for the rest of Nandy's story, I am going to let her tell it herself. So join me in welcoming Nandy Thomas to the stage.
Growing up as children, we often hear our parents say that they want us to be able to provide better lives for our children than their parents were for them. This is also true in my family, and the only way they expected my siblings and I to get there is by education. Coming from a family where my father never attended college and my mother attained a bachelor's degree, going to college was something that was never questioned. It was assumed. As a high school freshman, college was never something that I thought heavily about. I knew I would go, I just knew nothing about it. Gear Up changed all that. You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? I'm the product of just that. Throughout high school, Gear Up was an important backbone to everything I did, and for that I am extremely grateful. If it wasn't for Gear Up, I would have never been open to so many opportunities involving being honored with the Drive the Dream Scholarship, attending medical camps in the summer, ACT prep classes, countless college tours and seminars, but most importantly, I would have never been given the opportunity to meet Ms. Wendy Neely and Ms. Jennifer Eckler. These two women have changed my life in ways you can never imagine. Besides their obvious roles in Gear Up, they also have been there to guide me throughout college. Ms. Neely has always been a shoulder for me to lean on. These two women never cease to amaze me. Gear Up has prepared me for college tremendously. I was given the opportunity to go see so many colleges to find the one that was right for me, and I have been able to meet countless people across the state. Now, as a college sophomore, I cannot imagine how my college would have been if I hadn't been involved with Gear Up all these years. Thank you wouldn't be enough for all the things Gear Up allowed me to do. My journey to college has been made possible by several people who have supported me along the way. Tonight, I wanted to recognize one such person that had a hand in helping shape my future, even though we only met for the first time tonight. Programs like Gear Up are successful because people advocate for students on multiple levels. While many of you in the room tonight touch students directly, there are also many people that work behind the scenes to ensure that the students and families you serve receive the resources that support your work. As the Executive Director of the National Council for Community and Education Partnerships, Nathan Monell does exactly that. NCEEP's mission is to develop and strengthen broad-based partnerships throughout the education continuum, from early childhood through post-secondary education. Under Nathan's leadership, NCEEP continually seeks new and innovative ways to assist Gear Up programs. Their work with students, parents, and staff by providing research-based resources, public advocacy, and program evaluation. As a Gear Up student, NCEEP is my voice in the White House, working closely with our leaders in Congress and education associations to promote academic achievement and access to higher education for economically disadvantaged students. NCEEP and Nathan's tireless work to communicate the importance of expanding and enhancing college access programs nationally has helped make it possible for Kentucky to receive more than $128 million in federal Gear Up funding since 2005 to support thousands of Kentucky students like me. So, In recognition of his career of advocacy on behalf of individuals who are often marginalized by multiple life factors, and for his dedication to supporting students across Kentucky and the nation, I would like to present Nathan Monell with this award from the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education, proclaiming him as a 2012 Kentucky College Access Advocate of the Year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Isn't it pretty?
It's beautiful.
I know, it's great.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
How sweet of you.
Thank you, Nandy and Nathan. Our next student is Shane Ranshart. And Shane has just graduated from Western High School here in Louisville and was one of the first members of Western High School's early college program. Shane has exhibited outstanding leadership skills through his roles as student government president, class officer, and president of Fellowship of Christian Athletes since his freshman year. He also helped implement Teacher of the Week and peer mentoring programs at his high school. Participating in the Educational Talent Search Program for 3 years, I am pleased to introduce Shane Ranshart to share what Education Talent Search has meant to him. And this Educational Talent Search is located with the Kentuckiana Works organization in Louisville, Kentucky. Shane?
At my high school, there is a program known as the Educational Talent Search, or ETS for short. The purpose of the ETS program is to encourage students to take college-ready courses as they complete their high school education, enroll in post-secondary institution, whether it is a university, college, business, or trade school, and complete their program of study. ETS exposed me to many different institutions in and around the area, which led me to my final choice, Boyce Bible College. They did not only help me with getting into college. While in high school, it was obvious that I had poor time management. Through the help of my ETS counselor, I was able to get my rear in gear so that I would no longer have any late assignments. ETS also assisted in my scholarship search and application process by sharing examples of successful sample essays. With this help, I have been awarded over $4,000 in scholarships to attend college. My high school is an early college magnet, where students are able to receive free college credit through courses offered by the Jefferson Community Technical College. ETS helped me understand the importance of these classes and how much they would benefit me. And through that program, I was able to earn over 20 college credits in just 2 years. Because of all the help I have received and all the things I have learned, I strongly believe that ETS should be implemented into every school because of all the opportunities that are presented to students, all the things that they have the chance to learn about preparing for college, careers, and real-world experiences. I plan to graduate from Boyce Bible College in 2016 and starting Christian ministry as a youth minister, and then eventually move into a pastoral career. Now that I've shared my story, I'd like to tell you about someone who had a hand in making mine possible. In December 1977, at the Marriott Hotel in New Orleans, a visionary and courageous group of men and women met to develop a survival strategy to federally funded special programs for students from disadvantaged backgrounds, TRIO. Out of that meeting and others, as a result for tremendous effort and sacrifice, emerged the Council for Opportunity in Education, founded by its first and only president, Dr. Arnold Mitchum. Under Dr. Mitchum's leadership, the Council for Opportunity in Education has worked for the past 31 years in conjunction with colleges, universities, and agencies that host TRIO programs, like my Talent Search program, to advance and defend the ideal of equal educational opportunity and post-secondary education. The COE serves the interests and supports the work of college opportunity professionals at the major U.S. higher education institutions, including many of you in this room. Through nearly 3,000 federal TRIO projects, these individuals work ensures that more than 1 million low-income and first-generation students and students with disabilities across the nation receive access and retention services. Thanks to Dr. Mitchum and the work of the COE, TRIO programs have become the largest discretionary program in the U.S. Department of Education, extended by nearly 400%, and now serving more than 872,000 students. In Kentucky, his impact is profound. $21.4 million in federal funds to increase the college access, readiness, and success of 20,589 Kentucky individuals in the past year alone. Last year, the COE celebrated its 30th anniversary. Today, we celebrate the vision and commitment of its leader. So in recognition for a lifetime spent being a voice for low-income, first-generation students, and individuals with disabilities in Kentucky and across the nation, I would like to present Dr. Arnold Mitchum with this award from the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education, proclaiming him as the 2012 Kentucky College Access Advocate of the Year.
This is beautiful. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Now, if you're like me, you would like this evening to go on and we have all the students talk to you. But unfortunately, this evening is going to end. And so at this time, I would like to introduce to you our final student speaker, now really a graduate, who is Heidi Marsh. Heidi is from Benham, Kentucky, and she is one of our Gear Up students from Cumberland High School in Cumberland, Kentucky. She has just graduated from from Union College as the valedictorian of her class. Where she has earned her English degree. So I am going to step aside and have Heidi share her story with you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to bring this down. I'm a little shorter than everybody else that's been up here. So first, I would really like to thank you all for this opportunity to be able to say thank you to such a remarkable group of people who make college an option for students like myself where it wouldn't have been an option otherwise. So it's very special to be here, and I do thank you for that. Growing up, I always performed fairly well in school, and I had considered going to college, but, and I can't speak for everybody, but maybe for some other first-generation low-income students, it all felt really out of reach. But that was before I became a part of the Gear Up program. I first became involved with Gear Up as an 8th grader at Cumberland High School in Cumberland, Kentucky. I attended the Gear Up Kentucky Academy the summer before I entered high school, which was impeccable timing, by the way, given how the transition from middle school to high school isn't always the easiest. But the summer before my freshman year, I attended the Readiness Academy with Mr. Josh Sparks, and it was my first real introduction to on-campus college life. Being a part of that environment, although it was only for a week, helped me realize that I might actually belong there, that one day I could be walking around a college campus, going to college classes, and earning a college degree. It was the first time that the possibility of me going to college actually felt real. So for the next 2 summers, I spent 3 weeks each at the academy, once again on the campus of Eastern, and then again on the campus of Campbellsville University. And we took classes that were designed as miniature college courses, most of which served as ACT prep, which was incredibly useful. We also attended sessions on financial aid, which at the time was a really foreign concept, but college students tend to learn about that pretty quickly when you get into the mix. So that little bit of information was very valuable, although I didn't really realize it at the time. And I think most importantly for me, we learned what you can expect in a college classroom. So it was a lot of information to soak in, but it would prove to be invaluable. And I entered high school knowing that I wanted to go to college after high school graduation, and that really made all the difference. Being a part of the Gear Up program made me feel worthy of a college education, which was something that, coming from a rural area, especially, low-income first gen, isn't always something that seems possible. But it made me feel like I deserved a college education for the first time, really, in my life. So, and as cliche as this sounds, it made me believe that I could do anything I wanted and be anything I wanted to be, and I've really been trying to ride that train ever since. It gets, there are some stops along the way, but I've really tried to keep that kind of mindset, and it wouldn't have been possible without the Gear Up program. So when it came time in high school for me to take my ACT and do all that, I pulled out my prep packets and I took my practice ACT tests that were made available to me through Gear Up, and because of my ACT score and my GPA in high school, I received a full tuition scholarship to Union as a part of being in the honors program. So that was exciting. Thank you. And when I got to Union, I was a part of the Student Support Services program, which is a TRIO program, and I think some of the people I met at Union were there for that, especially Terry Wilson, who was the regional Gear Up coordinator when I was in the academy, and he was a part of the Upward Bound staff at Union. And so that was somebody from, the past that I got to see every day. I would pass him in the hallway, and he would say, how are things going? What are your future plans? And that, I think, more than anything, really made a difference. And he always had an encouraging word for me. And for those of you who dole out encouraging words, those really do add up, and they really do make a difference. So that's just something to keep in mind whenever you pass your students or your colleagues or whoever. Those do make a difference. But having that connection really motivated me, and it made me realize that the people who work in these programs, which are all of you, the people in this room, that you do really care about what you do, and that's something that you might not realize sticks with students. After 7 or 8 years, you might think that they don't remember you, but they do. And so I think that's important for me. So, in May, I graduated from Union as the valedictorian, which was exciting and a little unexpected, but it was a lot of hard work too. And I will be heading to East Tennessee State University in the fall to pursue a master's in English and literature. And none of it would have been possible without the influence of the Gear Up Academy. So, I have many people to thank for helping me along the path to earning a college degree. And some of those people, most importantly, some of those people have provided the resources to support the programs that have made my college dream become a reality. And one of those people is here with us tonight, and I'd like to tell you a little bit how his work has impacted myself and other students in Kentucky. As the Vice President for Program Development at the Lumina Foundation, Dr. Jim Applegate leads in development of the Foundation's funding programs to support Lumina's big goal to increase the proportion of Americans with high-quality degrees and credentials to 60% by the year 2025. In 2011, Lumina approved 87 grants to colleges, universities, associations, and other organizations for a total commitment of more than $47 million. In Kentucky, their contributions have been significant, supporting statewide efforts such as the Know How to Go Kentucky campaign and the Kentucky Adult Learner Initiative. Most recently, Lumina granted Kentucky $600,000 over the next 3 years as a part of the Core to College, Preparing Students for College Readiness and Success initiative to foster long-term collaborations between higher ed and K-12 to improve student achievement and college readiness. Here in Louisville, Lumina has supported the Higher Education Forum in their effort to create a model employee degree completion delivery system in the greater Louisville region, targeting more than 200,000 employees who have earned 45 to 90 college credits to complete a degree. Even prior to his work at Lumina, Dr. Applegate's contributions changed the college access landscape for Kentucky students. As Senior Fellow and Vice President for Academic Affairs at the Council on Post-Secondary Education, he coordinated statewide initiatives supporting a public agenda for higher ed that targeted dramatic increases in education attainment. He played a leading role in efforts targeting college success for low-income, minority, and first-generation students. In addition to his work in Kentucky, he has served on numerous national advisory boards for organizations influencing higher education policy, including the U.S. Department of Education, the American Council on Education, the ACT, the Council of State Governments, and the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. So, for serving as an unwavering inspiration for educators, administrators, and college access providers across the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and for an immeasurable impact made on behalf of Kentucky students today and in the future, the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education is proud to name Dr. Jim Applegate as the recipient of the 2012 Kentucky Beacon Award.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Very nice. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you so much, everyone. This is the part of the year of my career in Gear Up that really makes it all worthwhile when we hear the stories, when we learn about the impact, and truly it is humbling that any of us who do this work has that kind of impact on students. And so I'm going to leave us with the words of the students and dismiss us for the evening.